The reason you fundamentally stand out from the rest of Bollywood is because you've had Hollywood success.
Absolutely.
And it's not just a one-hit wonder. You've had consistently, you were in major series like Bold and Beautiful,
Yeah.
you were in Magnum PI, Dynasty. I mean, the list is endless. You were the first
And a Bond
Indian
film,
star
and
to come in Octopussy, the Bond film,
Right.
exactly. And now, when we talk about, obviously, your international career and, your Hollywood career, somehow Bold and Beautiful stands out. And I think it's because, it was one of the most successful series in the US.
Yeah, not just the US. Bold and Beautiful is shown in 146 countries to over 1 billion people, and mostly at prime time.
I was addicted when I was, growing up in Pakistan. I used to watch Bold and Beautiful. There was always a little bit of mystery surrounding your and Hunter Tyler's relationship, though. There was a lot of on-set chemistry.
Yeah.
But did that chemistry ever go offset? We're being candid here.
No, I'm being candid. I'm really being candid. It could have become a relationship. There was that frisson. There was that kind of chemistry. It didn't. It didn't. But it certainly worked to great effect on screen because we had that sort of chemistry between us. And there was this whole other drama that was going on in Hunter Tyler's life at the time because she got involved with an Indian stuntman.
Okay.
And so he'd come into her life, and that caused many a complication.
She did have a thing for Indians then. She did have a thing for Indians then.
Must have, because before I did Bold and Beautiful, she'd come to India to shoot with me in an Italian miniseries called The Maharaja's Daughter. And so that's where I met her for the first time. And that's where she began her relationship with this Indian stuntman. And so when she went back to America, and the creators of the show, the Bell family, called and said, we've got the perfect role for you. And they'd seen my work with Hunter Tyler in The Maharaja's Daughter, so they realized that I could play this Moroccan prince who gets obsessed with Hunter Tyler very well. So I got called for that. Going there, it was an incredible experience joining this. But soap operas are probably the hardest form of acting in the world.
Why is that?
Because you have to complete half an hour every day. You get anywhere from 5 to 25 pages of dialogue to do. You arrive at 8 in the morning. They mark your blocking of the scene for the day. This takes about an hour or two. You do your makeup, you have a quick lunch, and you're on. In America, they have to finish by 6 p.m. If they don't, every minute is costing them thousands of dollars because everybody in the building goes on to overtime, not just people on the set.
Okay.
So they'll write you out if you cause too many delays. And the pressure is such that, let's assume the scene is being shot in this room. And let's assume there are 4 scenes to be shot in this room, which come after gaps in the script, but because it's all lit, ready for the thing, they will shoot all 4 scenes one after another. And no matter how long and how complicated, the minute one scene finishes, you have to do the next. Now, as an actor, you want time to look at the lines, remember what everything was said, and they don't give you time.
And there's no room for mistakes.
And there's no room for mistakes because if there's a minor one, they'll come back and reshoot. Otherwise, they like to shoot with multiple cameras and shoot it like theater.
Okay.
So it's like doing theater with one rehearsal. That's the toughest
The pressure is on.
And if you don't measure up, you get written out because they cannot afford to delay everybody every day.
But somehow you coped.
I coped. It meant I stayed up till 2 in the morning learning my lines and then reappear on set 8 o'clock next morning.
Yes.
But I did it. The regulars on the series seem to develop an almost photographic memory, whereby they look at it, they remember it, and they don't seem to go to parties in the evening.
They had been on the show for years and years, and some over decades,
But it is such a culture you enter.
Yeah.
Because not only is it the being part of the Bold and Beautiful, there are fan clubs, there are conventions, there are events happening around the world to which you get invited. hundreds of thousands of people are writing to you, wanting your pictures, wanting your autograph,
get
wanting
kind
your
of
life
sucked into
story.
it?
Well, you can. You can. And quite honestly, I certainly couldn't reply or send a photograph to everyone that asked me because it would cost more than what I was earning from the show. There were just so many requests.
Yeah.
But it is part of being something special, and that's wonderful. It's like being part of the Bond film.
Yes. Now, going back memory lane, you know, you lived a very rich life.
Well, rich in terms of experience, absolutely.
Definitely rich in terms of experience. Can't be that rich when you've had that many divorces, you know, alimony and so on and so forth.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yes, exactly. Now, you were married, to date, you're married 4 times.
3 times, actually. 3 times. Because there was Pratima, then there was Ishel, who is...
Susan Humphreys.
Yeah, now known as Ishel.
Yes.
Then there was Nikki.
Nikki Bedi.
And Parveen and I have been together for the last 9 years.
Yes, I'm aware.
And she is no less than a wife.
Yes.
But in purely legal terms, we are not married.
Okay.
As yet.
Well, actually, I was counting Parveen as the 4th,
Okay.
but pardon me.
Right.
Now, so married 3 times, divorced 3 times. Does Kabir Bedi live his life king size?
Sure, looks like that.
How come?
Well, because I'm not afraid of taking risks. There have been times when, you know, you really wonder, did I really do the right thing? You're sitting there beating your head against the wall, thinking, you know, how am I going to get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Whether that's emotional or financial or whatever.
And yet you marry again?
Yet I marry again, and yet I believe in love. I believe...
I think that's what I find very interesting, and I'm sure women find very endearing, that despite the alimonies and despite the breakups and despite the media attention, you still have the heart to fall in love again and marry again.
Well, if
if it weren't for Parveen, you'd be married right now.
Well, I am married to Parveen in every sense but legal.
Form, you know what I mean. You would even, you know, you would be legally married right now.
And really, I say if you find the right person, if you have a sense of that kind of companionship, that kind of sense of mutual love and support, why not give your heart? The more you give, the more you get.
So you've got that, what they call in Hindi or Urdu, zinda dili.
You could say that. You could say that. You could say zinda dili. You could say bewakoof hai sudai hai. You could say, or you could say he's the great romantic.
Yes, you are, aren't you? Because
I think so.
You have a choice of living with them, but you want to marry them, which is quite sweet.
Yeah. Just the way I am.
On that note, Kabir, we'll go for a short break and continue through the journey to your life. Now, your personal life sometimes got more attention than your professional life. Why do you think that was the case?
Well, because it's so interesting. I mean, you know, when I married Pratima, Pratima was a very free-spirited, alive kind of person. We were living together. And I'm talking about, you know, at a time when living together was not very accepted or known or done even. And we, there were magazine articles that said, they live together, you know. And, you know, she was India's first streaker. I mean, she streaked on the beaches, etc. She set up India's first disco. She set up a dance village. She did all kinds of things. And we were this sort of young couple that were children of the 60s, smoking our dope and, you know. It was a time of great excitement, the 60s. I mean, can you imagine it was a sort of...
Did you feel liberated?
It was a time of liberation. It was a time of liberation from an old machismo kind of world. It was when people demonstrated for peace for the first time in history. It was a time when flower power was talked about, you know. It was a... there were hippies going on these spiritual journeys to India. It was a magical time. So that aspect was there, and then Pratima and me set against that. Then I go to, then I had a long relationship with Parveen Babi as well, so that got
Actually,
written
before
about.
we go to Parveen, which I am going to dwell on,
Then
I want to
Ishel,
know
then
more
Nikki, so
about-
all interesting.
I want to know more about Pratima.
Okay.
She was this wild child, this uninhibited person, and she was like a firecracker,
Yeah,
And-
she was, I call her a force of nature.
a force of nature.
Yeah.
What in particular attracted you to Pratima?
Just that. The fact that there was this person that had so much energy, had so much, it's an alive mind, and she was
You know, when you read about
capable of doing, and she was very funny, and
Yeah.
she had great vivacity. She was, in a sense, the opposite of me in many ways, because I'm actually quite shy. I'm not, my social interactions aren't the most skillful. I'm not the most best schmoozer or networker, etc. Pratima was the complete opposite. She'd enter a room full of strangers and walk out as their best friend. So sometimes in that case, opposites attract, because that's what you like. And she likes the fact that I was more thoughtful, more...
you were more contained compared to her.
Well, yeah, in certain ways, yeah.
Did she bring out the best in you, Kabir, or the worst in you?
Ooh, big question. Good question. Did Pratima bring out the best in me or the worst in me? I don't think she brought out the worst in me, certainly. But neither do I think she brought out the best in me completely. She brought out certain things in me. She made me more forthcoming. She made me more socially interactive. She made me forced me to be more tolerant than I even was of certain things.
But she pushed your boundaries.
She did push my boundaries, and eventually pushed so far that it was best we ended that journey. But that doesn't mean there was a lack of respect for who she was and
But
who I
Pratima
was.
said that there will only be one Pratima in Kabir's life. And in all honesty, and I know that you've had so many, you know, you've been lucky, you've managed to be loved by so many, and you've managed to fall in love with so many. But was Pratima the love of your life?
I can't say that. I certainly loved her. There was a lot of love there, but she also wounded me in certain ways. Eventually I had to move beyond her. And yes, there was always a certain bond and a certain respect for each other, but it would be grossly unfair to the other women in my life if I said Pratima is the love of my life.
Yes.
Each one in their time is the love of your life, because that's the way you feel. Now, feelings can change, circumstances can change.
Yes.
But whoever is the person in my life is the love of my life.
How diplomatic of you, Kabir.
But what else can I say, Sally? What else can I say? Apart from what else can I feel? Because I cannot feel
But you do
the
know
same
that
love that I felt for a woman once when I fell in love with her, whoever it is, whether it's Pratima or Parveen or Ishel or Nikki or anyone else, when I don't feel that anymore.
Yes.
So for me to say that I felt more deeply for somebody at that time than I feel for somebody now would be wrong. You see, there is a thing, it's very hard to go back to innocence.
Yeah.
If I think back to the first girl I fell in love with during my college days, that is a very beautiful, pure, innocent, it's your first love. It's one of the most beautiful things that can happen to anybody. And that kind of love and innocence I have not shared with anyone else. Is she the love of my life? I can't say that.
But you
it was a
certainly
very
were.
special love.
From what I have read about Pratima, you certainly were the love of her life.
That's
I
what
think till the day she died, you were her king.
I believe so.
Now, you were tall, dark, and handsome. Women adored you. Do you feel, coupled with your looks and the career choice that you had, you were an actor, it was very difficult for you to have a monogamous relationship with anyone?
That's true. That's true.
Care to tell it more?
Actually, I see myself as a serial monogamist. Most of my relationships have not been short relationships. They've been long relationships. And they were largely monogamous. When I say largely monogamous, it means there came a point in the relationship where another relationship might have entered the picture, which may have spoiled things within the relationship, leading to other things which led to the end of the relationship. But by and large, truth be told, a lot of my relationships were largely monogamous. So it's not as though, in spite of being married, I was having affairs left, right, and center all the time. I wasn't.
But is it true?
What you choose to believe is yours. What the public image is another. Let them imagine what they like if it brings excitement into their lives. God bless them. Truth of the matter is that overall, I'm a serial monogamist.
But was Pratima and your marriage an open marriage?
It became that at one point.
When it was failing?
See, you have to understand in the context of the times. Those are very liberated times. People are trying different social experiments.
Yes.
People are trying to have open marriages. People are trying living together. People are trying to live in communes where they all shared sex, etc. So our point was, because from the earliest days, there was between Pratham and me, there was infidelities all the time.
Yes.
I think, well, let's not get into who got there first and all that, but the fact of the matter is, she was unfaithful, I was unfaithful. And there came a point where we said, listen, we have a child, if we want to keep this marriage alive, what is this hypocrisy about, you hide it from me, I hide it from you, and we find out anyway?
Yeah.
Let's try an open relationship. And we did. I'm not saying open marriages cannot work. They can. In exceptional circumstances, with exceptional people, they can. In my case, and Pratima's case, it did not. Because I felt that at the end of the day, it ended up with too much mutual disrespect.
Yes.
And that's what spoiled it all. Because when trust breaks down, then I believe everything breaks down. And we tried saying, forget fidelity as the policy, make honesty the policy. It still didn't work.
Now, following Pratima, you had a very beautiful, a very deep relationship with Parveen Bhabi. What was it about you that women found so lovable? They couldn't stop loving you.
I'm a lovable kind of guy, what can I tell you? Look, every man likes to think he's lovable. Every man likes to think he's the apple of his woman's eye. I'm no different.
The difference is when you walked away, these women kept loving you, even after you had walked away.
You know, that is true. As Faiz Ahmed Faiz said, जो अफसाना अंजाम तक नहीं पहुंच सकता उसे एक खूबसूरत मोड़ देकर छोड़ देना बेहतर. That journey that cannot be completed or reach its conclusion, it is better to leave it at a beautiful bend in the road. And those journeys of my life that I could not complete, I believe that I fulfilled my responsibility to the best of my ability, beyond the call of what the law required even. In most cases, I gave the women most of what I had and started afresh.
I'm aware of that.
So, there was no cause for the sense that, oh, this guy's been a bastard, he just, did what he liked and walked off and he's leading a princely life. No. They knew that I'd been as fair to them as I could, humanly, in terms of my responsibilities, looking after children, their expenses, their education, their travel, their vacations. So those were not the issues. Emotional hurts when they happen are there. There's no such thing as painless parting. There's always that agony of two people separating. But that feeling passes. And when that feeling passes, what you realize is that you're not dealing with bad people. She's not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. Sure, we couldn't get along. Something broke us at that point. But that mutual respect continues. And that's why women that have been in my life still speak well of me, and I speak well of them.
What is it about you that they were in love with? And I know it wasn't your looks and your career.
Every single photograph had been ripped to pieces.
No way. Did you really think she was mad?
I never use the word mad because I don't think that's the right word to use.